Hello guys, good evening. Maupay nga gabi sa iyong tanan. Bisan kung gabi na maggagawa pa rin ako ng video, okay? Right guys, good evening. Liezel po ang inyong lingkod at nagsasabing business, mind on your business. Medyo inaantok. Medyo inaantok na pero go pa rin. Okay, our topic, alam nyo guys, before ako mag-proceed sa aking topic ngayong gabi, gusto ko lang ulitin yung sinabi ko nung mga nakaraang video na ako ay isang waray, and then ang nung baguhan pa lang ako dito sa Manila, talagang pinagtatawaan na nila yung accent ko dahil isa nga akong waray, laking probinsya ako. So, hindi na po nawawala sa akin yung accent. So, pinagtatawanan ako nila dahil sa aking accent. Hindi talaga nawawala. Minsan naman tumutugma yung yung tono ko. Pero wala na, hindi na talaga nawawala yung accent ko. Talagang may accent na talaga ako. Pero hindi pa rin ako na-discourage dahil dyan, kahit na pinagtatawanan nila yung accent ko, ginagamit ko pa rin yung ginagawa ko pa rin yung mga gusto kong gawin kahit na pinagtatawanan nila ako dahil sa aking, sa aking accent. Kagaya ng pag-vlog, pwede naman ako mag-vlog ng ibang content. Pero yung ginagawa ko ngayon discussion pa talaga, di ba? Parang, haler, ang lakas ng loob mo, pinagtatawanan ka na nga dahil sa accent mo, nagwa-vlog ka pa. Tapos, pinili mo pang vlog discussion, teaching, pinagtatawanan ka na nga, di ba? Pero hindi yun naging hadlang sa akin para ipagpatuloy ko yung mga pangarap ko, yung mga pangarap ko sa buhay. Okay, so yan lang muna i-share ko sa inyo about my life or about my experience. Pero grabe, sobrang dami kong pinagdaanan sa buhay. Pero sa ngayon, let's proceed na sa ating topic. Okay, so guys, our topic for today is about collection of real property tax. So, Article 7. Nung mga nakaraang video ko, ang discuss ko na po, it's sa section 12. Tapos, so, section 13 na ako ngayon. So, start ako section 13. Section 13, tapos na ako dito sa section 13 pala, dapat section 14 na ako, collection of real property tax. So, okay, sige. Dito na ako sa, section 14. Di ba dali tapos? Ay, sorry. Okay, so, section 14 guys, hindi pala section 13. So, dito po ako sa, may leakage, charot. Okay, section 14. Ito ang collection remedies. Okay, the collection of delinquent taxes under this chapter shall be enforced by administrative action through levy on real property or by judicial action. Gabi, halatang sa background ko, merong halaman dun, merong plants. Okay, so, we have here we have here, na speechless na. Na speechless na naman ako. A. Levy on real property The following procedures shall be followed in instituting levy. O, di ba, umpisa pa lang nabubulol na ako. Okay, number 1, whenever a taxpayer fails to pay the basic real property tax of any other tax levied under this chapter after the expiration of the time required for payment. Kung parang mag-ano lang ako, storytelling lang ako nito. The real property subject to tax may be levied upon through the assistance of a warrant on or before may leakage. On or before or simultaneously with the institution of the civil action before the proper court for the collection of the delinquent tax. When issuing a warrant of levy, the city treasurer shall prepare a duly authenticated certificate showing the name of the delinquent owner of the property or person having legal interest therein, the description of the property, the amount of tax due, and the interest thereon. The warrant shall be mailed to or serve upon the delinquent owner of the delinquent property or person having legal interest therein, or in case he is out of the country or cannot be located, to the administrator or occupant of the property. Can I have a coffee? You have something? Meron kang sasabihin? Wala. Okay, thank you. Coffee, guys. Sarap. Thank you. Okay, so number 2. So, number 2, a copy of warrant shall be furnished to the city assessor and the register of deeds who shall annotate to the levy on the declaration and on the certificate of title to the property respectively. Number 3, a report on levy shall be submitted to the city mayor and sangguniang panglungsod within 10 days after receipt of the warrant by the owner of the property or person having legal interest thereon. Come on, huwag kang antukin. Number 4, within 30 days after service of warrant of levy, the city treasurer shall advertise for sale of auction the property or a usable portion thereof as may be necessary to satisfy the tax delinquency and expenses of sales. Coffee again. Sarap ng coffee. The advertisement shall be effected by posting a notice at the main entrance, of the City Hall building and in publicity accessible and conspicuous place and in the place in the barangay where the real property is located, and by publication once a week for 2 weeks in a newspaper of general circulation in Quezon City. Guys. The advertisement shall specify the amount of the delinquent tax, the interest due thereon, and expenses of sale, the day and place of sale, the name of the owner of the real property or person having legal interest therein, and description of the property to be sold. At any time before the day fixed for the sale, the owner of the real property or person having legal interest therein may stay the proceedings by paying the delinquent tax, the interest due thereon, and the expenses of the sale shall be held either at the entrance of the City Hall building, on or on the property to be sold, or at any other place as specified in the notice of sale. The city treasury may, by ordinance, duly approve, advance an amount sufficient to defray the cost of collection through the remedies provided in this chapter, including the expenses of the advertisement and sale. Number 5, 30 days after the sale, the city treasurer shall make a report to the city mayor and sangguniang panglungsod, and which shall from part of his second naantok. City mayor and sangguniang panglungsod, and which shall form part of his records. The city treasurer shall likewise prepare and deliver to the purchaser a certificate of sale which shall contain the name of the purchaser, description of the property sold, the amount of the delinquent tax, and then the rest thereon, expenses of the sale, and a brief description of the proceedings of the proceedings shall of the proceedings na pala yun. Okay. At the proceedings. Kanina pa yung proceedings na yan. Okay, number 6. Guys, number 6. Any excess, cover, and above what is required to pay the entire obligation shall be remitted to the owner of the property or person having legal interest thereon. Number 7. Within 1 year from the date of annotation of the of the sale of the property at the proper registry, the owner of the delinquent real property or person having legal interest therein or his representative shall have the right to redeem the property by paying to the city treasurer the amount of the delinquent tax, including interest due thereon and the expenses of sale, plus interest of 2% per month on the purchase price from the date of sale to the date of redemption. Such payment shall be invalidate the certificate of sale issued to the purchaser, and the owner of the delinquent property or person having legal interest therein shall be entitled to a certificate of redemption which shall be issued by the city treasurer. From the date of sale until the expiration of the period of redemption, the delinquent real property shall remain in the possession of the owner or person having legal interest therein, who shall be entitled to the income and other fruits thereof. The city treasurer, upon receipt from the purchaser of the certificate of sale, shall forthwith return to the latter the entire amount paid by him plus interest of the 2% per month. Thereafter, the property shall be free from the lien of such delinquent tax, interest due thereon, and expenses of sale. Number 8. In case the owner or person having legal interest therein fails to redeem the delinquent property as provided herein, the city treasurer shall purchase said property free from lien or the delinquent tax, interest thereon, and expenses of sale. The ended disposition of sale pala. Sorry. So interest thereon, expenses of sale. The deeds shall briefly state the proceedings upon which the validity of the sale rests. Okay, so number 9, in case there is no bidder for the real property advertised for the sale as provided herein, or if the highest bid is for an amount insufficient to pay the real property tax and the related interest and cost of sale, the city treasurer conducting the sale shall purchase the property in behalf of the city government to satisfy the claim within 2 days thereafter, shall make a report of this proceeding, which shall be reflected upon the records of this office. It shall be the duty of the Register of Deeds upon registration with his office of any such declaration or forfeiture to transfer the title of the forfeited property to the city government without necessity of an order from a competent court. Within 1 year from the date of such forfeiture, the taxpayer or any of his representative may redeem the property by paying to the city treasurer the full amount of the real property tax and the related interest and the cost of sale. If the property is not redeemed as provided herein, the ownership thereof shall be fully vested to the city. Number 10, mukhang masyado na akong seryoso dito. Okay, number 10, the shares of the barangays and the equivalent amount of additional taxes and interest due to the city school board shall be reimbursed by the city government within 1 month after the subject delinquent real property is forfeited in favor of the city government. Number 11, the city government through an ordinance may seal and dispose of the real property required under the section of public auction. Number 12, without prejudice the criminal prosecution under the revised penal code and the other applicable laws, the city treasurer who fails to issue or execute the warrant of levy within 1 year from the time the tax becomes delinquent or within 30 days from the date of issuance thereof, or who is found guilty of abusing the exercise thereof in an administrative or judicial proceeding shall be dismissed from the service. So we have our item B, the collection through judicial action. The collection through judicial action, the city government may likewise enforce collection of real property taxes by civil action in any court of competent jurisdiction pursuant to Section 280 of Republic Act Number 7160. All count actions, criminal or civil, instituted at the instance of the city treasurer or city assessor shall be exempted from payment of court and their fees. The city treasurer of the or city assessor shall be exempted from payment of court and sheriff fees. Item D, we have the periods within which or to collect real property taxes. Periods within which to collect real property taxes, ito ay ang city government may enforce the collection of real property taxes and any other tax levied under this chapter within 5 years from the date they become due. No action for collection of tax, whether administrative or judicial, may be instituted after the expiration of such period. In case, excuse me, in case of fraud or intent to evade payment, such action may be instituted for collection of the same within 10 years from the discovery of such fraud or intent to evade payment. Okay. So, Section 5, ito yung filing fee. Filing fee, the Quezon City Board of Assessment Appeals. We have here item A. Sa item A, ito yung any owner or person having legal interest in the property who is not satisfied with the action of the city assessor in the assessment of his property may within 60 days from the date of receipt of the written notice of the assessment appeal to the Quezon City Board of Assessment Appeals by filing petition under the oath of the form prescribed by the purpose and upon payment of a filing fee of 100 pesos. The Quezon City Board Assessment Appeal shall act on the appeal of the assessment in accordance with the provision of Chapter 3, Book 2, Title 2 to the Local Government Code of 1991. Section 16, Administrative Provisions. Section 6, Administrative Provisions, we have here item A. Sa item A, nakalagay dito on the appraisal and assessment of real property tax. Kung napanood nyo yung mga nakaraang videos ko, na-explain ko din ito about the appraisal and assessment of real property tax. So, we have here an appraisal assessment of real property tax. Number 1, appraisal of real property. All properties, whether taxable or exempt, shall be appraised the current and fair market value prevailing in the city in accordance with the rules and regulations promulgated by the Department of Finance for the classification, appraisal, and assessment of real property pursuant to the provisions of the 1991 Local Government Code. Number 2, declaration of real property by the owner or administrator. Excuse me. It shall be, again, the declaration of real property by the owner of administrator. Ito yung, it shall be the duty of all persons or natural or juridical owning or administering real property, including the improvements within Quezon City, or either duly authorized representatives to prepare or cause to be prepared and filed with the city assessor a sworn statement declaring the true value of their property, whether previously declared or undeclared taxable or exempt, which shall be excuse me, the current and fair market value of the property as determined by the declarant. Such declaration shall contain a description of the property sufficient in detail to enable the city assessor or his deputy to identify the same from declaration of real property herein referred to shall be filed with the city assessor once every 3 years during the period from January 1st to June 30th, commencing from calendar year 1994. For this purpose, the city assessor shall use the standard form known as the Sworn Declaration of Property Values prescribed by the Department of the Finance. The procedures in filing and the safekeeping thereof shall be accordance with the guidelines issued by the said department. Number 3, administrative penalty. Failure to file the required sworn declaration of property values on the prescribed period, a penalty of 50 pesos shall be imposed against the declarant for each and every tax declaration. Number 4, duty of person acquiring real property or making improvement thereon. Item A, asa dito, it shall be the duty of any person or any authorized representative acquiring any real property situated in Quezon City or making any improvement on the real property to prepare or cause to be prepared the file with the city assessor or sworn statement declaring the true value of subject property within 60 days after the acquisition of such property or upon completion or occupancy of the improvement, whichever comes first. We have heard the item B. In the case of houses, buildings, or other improvements acquired or newly constructed which will require building permits, property owners of their authorized representatives shall likewise file a sworn declaration of the true value of the subject house, building, or other improvements within 60 days after one the date of the duty notarized final date of sale contract of the other date of conveyance covering the subject property executed saan yun? Tumutunog. Executed between the contracting parties. So, number 2, the date of completion of the occupancy of the newly constructed building, house, or improvement, whichever building, house, improvement, whichever comes first. And number 3, the date of completion or occupancy of any expansion, renovation, or additional structures or improvements made upon any existing building, house, or other real property, whichever comes first. Baka naman antukin yung manunod sa akin ito, inaantok din yung nagde-discuss. Medyo i-ano ko nga muna to. Wait lang guys, medyo i-move ko lang yung aking camera. Okay. So, side, ganyan. Pwede na yan, ganyan naka-side. Na-jacket. So, in item C, in the case of machinery, the 60 days period for filing required sworn declaration of property value shall commence on the date installation thereof. For this purpose, the city assessor may secure certification from the city engineer. Number 5, declaration of real property by the city assessor. Sa number 5, declaration of real property by the city assessor, we have also item A. And nakasaad dito, excuse me, when any person, natural or juridical, by whom real property is required to be declared refuses or fails to for any reason to make such declaration within the time prescribed, the city assessor shall himself declare the property in the name of the defaulting owner, and shall assist the property for taxation in accordance with the provision of this article. Okay, and item B, in the case of real property discovered whose owner or owners are unknown, the city assessor shall likewise declare the same in the name of the unknown owner until such time that a person until that same person, natural or juridical, comes forth and files the sworn declaration of property values required under section 16B and D. Section 16 and item B and item D. Ayun. Narinig din dito. Okay, let's continue to item C. No oath shall be required of a declaration thus made by the city assessor. Number 6, listing of real property in the assessment rolls. We have the item A, the city assessor shall prepare and maintain the city assessment. Yung camera ko kailangan i-adjust. The city assessor shall prepare and maintain an assessment roll wherein all real property shall be listed. Whether taxable, exempt, located Hindi ako makapagtuloy-tuloy. Naamoy ko yung usok ng sigarilyo. Sorry guys. Sorry. Okay, let's continue. Located within the territorial jurisdiction. Sorry, di-distract ako. Hindi ako dito. Di-distract ako eh. Again, number 6, ulitin ko. Number 6, listing of real property in the assessment rolls. We have item A, the city assessor shall prepare and maintain the assessment roll wherein all the real property shall be listed, whether taxable or exempt, located within the territorial jurisdiction of the city. Real property shall be listed, valued, and assessed in the name of the owner or administrator or anyone having legal interest in the property. We have item B, the real property of a corporation, partnership, or association shall be listed, valued, and assessed in the manner as that of an individual. Number 7, real property identification system. All declarations or real property made under the provision of this article shall be kept and filed under a uniform classification system to be established by the city assessor pursuant to the guidelines issued by the Department of Finance, DOF, for the purpose. Number 8, guys, notification of transfer of real property ownership. We have item A, any person who shall transfer real property ownership to another shall notify to the city assessor within 60 days from the date of such transfer. Item B, the notification shall include the copy of the mode of transfer, the description of the property, alienated the name and address of the transferee. Okay, so number 9, ito ay ang preparation of schedule of fair market value. Sa preparation of schedule of fair market value, we have also item A. Ito yung, before any general revision of property assessment is made pursuant to the provisions of this article, there shall be prepared a schedule of fair market values by the city assessor for the different classes of real property situated in the city or city for enactment into a separate ordinance and separate ordinance na distract na naman ako. Okay, sorry guys for that. Okay, again, ulitin ko ulit yung number 9, preparation of a schedule of fair market value. We have item A, before any general provision of property assessment is made pursuant to the provision of this article, there shall be prepared a schedule of fair market values by the city assessor for the different classes of real property situated in the city for enactment into a separate ordinance by the sangguniang panglungsod. The approved schedule of fair market value shall be published in a newspaper or general circulation in the city or posted into another conspicuous public places therein. We have item B, in preparation of a schedule of fair market values, the city assessor shall be guided by the rules and regulation issued by the Department of Finance. Number 10, medyo mahaba-haba pa ito guys. Number 10, authority of city assessor to take evidence. So ito na yung authority of city assessor to take evidence. Excuse me po. Ako sinang sick. Excuse me. Can I have a drink? Oh no. Oh yeah. Ba't ang tamis? Okay, so let's proceed guys. Number 10. Authority of city assessor to take evidence for the purpose of obtaining information on which to base the market values of any real property. Medyo bibilisan ko na. The city assessor or his deputy may summon the owners of the properties to be affected or persons having legal interest therein and witnesses, administer oath and take deposition concerning the property, its ownership, amount, nature, and value. Number 11, amendment of the schedule of fair market values. Amendment guys. Amendment of the schedule of fair market values. The city assessor may recommend to the sangguniang panglungsod amendments to correct errors or evaluation and the schedule of fair market values. The sangguniang panglungsod shall, upon the recommendation within 90 days from receipt thereof. Minsan gagawa ako ng buod na discussion about this topic. Kapag mayroon rin po kayong mga question, i-comment nyo lang po sa baba ng aking video na ito. At kapag nabasa ko po yan, gagawan ko po yan ng video para masagot ko po yung mga questions. Then, Section 17. Ito po yung special provisions. Special provisions. Wait, balik tayo dito sa amendment. Guys, pag sinabi po kasing amendment, ito yung halimbawa sa business permit nyo, mag-amend kayo. Pag sinabing amendment, ito yung meron kayong papalitan sa business nyo, halimbawa amendment of halimbawa transfer of location, ganyan, o kaya transfer of ownership, ganyan. Yun ang amendment na sinasabi. Yun yun. So, minsan gagawa ako ng ng buod na discussion about this article, about this section na ito. Kung meron kayong mga question, pwede nyo lang i-comment sa baba ng aking video. And then, yun nga, sabi ko kanina, pag nabasa ko yun, gagawa din ako ng video para masagot ko yung mga questions na mababasa ko. So, let's proceed to section 17. Ito po yung special provisions. Yung amendment, yung tinutukoy ko yung amendment sa business permit ha, kung meron kayong mga papalitan sa inyong mga business permit. Kapag yung mga mayroon mga business permit, alam na nila yun eh. Kumbaga, lalo yung mga matatagal, yung mga baguhan, medyo madami pa yun mga tanong. Pero yung mga matatagal na, alam na nila yun. Okay, so let's proceed about section 17, special provisions. We have item A, the expenses incidental to the general revision. To the general revision of real property assessment shall be shared by the city government, the barangays and city school board at the rate of their percentage showing on the distribution of real property tax collections. We have item B. It shall be the duty of the register of deeds to require any person who shall present for registration a document of transfer, alienation, or encumbrance of the real property to accompany the same with a certificate of the effect that the real property subject to the transfer of alienation or encumbrance, as the case may be, has been fully paid off all the real property taxes due thereon. Failure to provide such certificate shall be a valid cause for the register of deeds to refuse the registration of the document. Pursuant to Section 209 of the 1991 Local Government Code, the Register of Deeds shall likewise prepare and submit to the City Assessor an abstract of this registry, which shall include brief but sufficient descriptions of properties entered therein, their present owners, and dates of their most recent transfer of alienation, accompanied by copies of corresponding deeds of sale, donation, partition, or other form of alienation. We have item C, the Register of Deeds and Notaries Public shall furnish the City Assessor with 1 copy every contract of instrument sealing, transferring or otherwise conveying, leasing, or mortgaging real property registered by or acknowledged before them within the first 5 days of the succeeding month after 30 days from the date of the registration or acknowledgement. We have item D. Excuse me. Any public official or employee who may now or thereafter be required by law or regulation to issue to any person a permit for the construction, addition, repair, or renovation of a building or permanent improvement on hand, or certificate of registration for any machinery, including machines, mechanical contrivances, and apparatus attach or affix on land or to another real property shall transmit a copy of such permit or certificate within 30 days of its issuance to the City Assessor. Said official shall likewise furnish the City Assessor with copies of the building floor plans and certificates of the registration or installation of mahaba yung of other machineries which may not be permanently or temporarily attached to land or another real property but fully falling under the definition of the term machinery and the rules and guidelines issued by the Department of Finance. We have for item E, item E. It shall be the duty of all juridic engineers, public or private, excuse me, to furnish free of charge the city assessor with a white or blue print copy of each of all approved originals of subdivision plans or maps of service executed by them within 30 days from the receipt of such plans from the Land Management Bureau, the Land Registration Authority, or the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board, as the case may be. Item F, wherever the insurance companies are hereby required to furnish the city assessor copies of any contract or insurance policy on buildings, structures, improvements and machineries insured by them, or other documents necessary for the assessment thereof. Item G, all real property assessment notices or owner's copies of tax declarations sent through the mails by the city assessor shall be exempt from the payment of postal charges of fees. Okay, we have our item H. So, the new assessment levels, rates of levy, the special levies on real property and tax or on idle land provided in this code shall only apply after the effectivity of the general revision required under Section 219 at the 1991 Local Government Code. So, next is Section 18. Ito yung penal provisions. Excuse me. Penal provision we have here on item A. Ito po ay ang any officer charged with the duty of assessing real property who willfully fails to assess or who intentionally omits from the assessment on tax roll of any real property tax which he knows to be taxable, or who willfully or negligently assesses any real property or to intentionally violates or fails to perform any duty imposed upon him by law relating to the assessment of taxable real property tax upon conviction be furnished by imprisonment of not less than 1 month nor more than 6 months, or by fine or not less than 1,000 pesos nor more than 5,000 pesos, 5,000 pesos or both such imprisonment and fine at this discretion of the court. Excuse me. The same penalty shall be imposed upon any officer charged with the duty of collecting the tax due on real property who willfully or negligently fails to collect the tax and institutes to necessary proceedings for the collection of the same. Any other officer required by law to perform acts relating to the administration of real property tax or to assist the city assessor or any treasurer in such administration who willfully fails to discharge such duties shall, upon conviction, be furnished by the imprisonment of not less than 1 month nor more than 6 months, or by fine not less than 500 pesos nor than nor fine of not less than 500 pesos nor more than 5,000 pesos, or both such imprisonment and fine. At discretion of court, we have here item B. Any government official who intentionally and deliberately delays the assessment of real property from filing any appeal against its assessment shall, upon filing any appeal against its assessment, shall upon conviction be furnished by imprisonment of not less than 1 month or more than 6 months, or by 1 month or more than 6 months, or by a fine or not less than 500 pesos or more than 5,000 pesos, or both such imprisonment and fine. The discretion of the court. So we have last item. So item C, the city treasurer when failing to dispose of delinquent real property at public auction in compliance with the pertinent provisions of this code, and any other public official whose acts hinder the prompt disposition of delinquent real property at public auction, shall upon conviction be subject to imprisonment of not less than 1 month nor more than 6 months, or by fine not less than 1,000 pesos nor more than 5,000 pesos, or both such imprisonment and fine at the discretion of the court. Okay guys, so that's the end of the topic for tonight. Next po na i-discuss ko ay it's about tax on business naman. Yun yung susunod kong i-discuss. So, yun na yung chapter 3. So, excuse me. Before end of this video, I wanted to thank you all, my viewers, all likers, lahat ng mga nag-likes, all the subscribers, maraming salamat po. Again, thank you very much. Liezel po, ang inyong lingkod at nagsasabing business, mind on your business. Maraming salamat po sa panonood ng aking YouTube channel. Ako po ay isang baguhan lamang po na yes, stop, don't talk. Talk to my Lord, joke lang. Didistract na naman ako. Guys, sobrang haba ng aking video ngayon. Maraming salamat. Lagi ako nagpapasalamat at the end of my sa pinakahuli ng aking video. Wala pa yata akong video na hindi ako nagpapasalamat. Lagi ako nagpapasalamat. Maraming salamat po. Sa ngayon hindi pa po ako mag-mention ng aking papasalamatan, pero alam nyo na guys kung sino kayo. Maraming salamat sa inyo, yung mga nag-like, nag-view, nag-subscribe. Maraming salamat. Pero kapag ka naka 1,000 subscribe na po ako, i-mention ko na po yung mga taong nag-guide sa akin, tumulong sa akin, nagturo sa akin kung paano ko i-handle ang pagiging isang vlogger, kung paano ko naipagpapatuloy ang pag-vlog. So, alam nyo na guys kung sino kayo. So, again, maraming salamat po. Ulitin ko na naman ulit. Ako po si Liezel, ang inyong lingkod, at nagsasabing business, mind on your business. Maraming salamat po. Bye-bye!